Hi guys, this is Sam. I'm just here to go over a bit how exactly you translate, because I noticed there have been lots of mistakes. So when we translate in symbolic logic, if you see here on the top, it says A equals ants are tasty, B equals pigs are bouncy. Um, One thing to note here that's really central, first off, is that every symbol, first off, is a letter, right? A single letter on its own. And it always symbolizes a complete sentence, right? These are the smallest possible complete sentences. So, for instance, this is ants are tasty. If you see there's a subject, which are ants, and then it's are, right? So it's a state of being. Tasty is a qualifier, right? So the smallest, most minimal possible sentence you can have that contains some kind of truth value has a subject and some kind of quality that you're giving it, right? So there should always be either um, a subject and object relationship. So it might be Bill kicked the ball, right? So there you have the object, the ball, and you have the subject, Bill, and you have the verb kicked. Or you have a subject and some kind of property that pertains to it. In this case, that would be ants are tasty or pigs are bouncy, right? Where you have the subject, the ants, the verb, which is are or to be, and then tasty, which is obviously a state of being, which signifies that it's delicious, right? Every symbol has to have all of that inside of it, right? So we have another example there that I just gave, so I'll add that, which is, let's say L equals Bob kicked the ball, right? So in the first two examples, we have a subject with a property. And in the last one, we have a subject who acts on an object, right? And these are the smallest possible sentences you can have, right? Sometimes I see students doing this thing here where they say A equals ants and T equals tasty to symbolize the first sentence. But this is not how you symbolize in logic because every symbol has to stand for something that can be true or false. And ants cannot be true or false, right? Ants are things that might or might not exist, but a statement, if you just say ants, it doesn't count as a statement because you're not saying anything about ants that could be true or false, right? And same with adjectives or verbs. I've seen people try to give a symbol for adjectives and verbs, and you can't do that in logic, unfortunately. So if we were to symbolize the sentence, ants are tasty or pigs are bouncy, we would symbolize it as A or B. And for good measure, you might add parentheses to show that this is a single sentence, right? Then if we go down, we see another example here. If ants are tasty, then pigs are bouncy. So let's write that out. So sometimes I also see students, for instance, saying A equals ants if ants are tasty. Okay. If should never, ever, ever be in the sentence that you're making the symbol, right? If is a part of the logical relationship. So if you say, if ants are tasty, then pigs are bouncy, the word if here is a part of the logical relationship between ants being tasty and pigs being bouncy. So we would still use the A up here, right? This is ants are tasty. So we have ants are tasty if pigs are bouncy, right? Or ants are tasty when pigs are bouncy, right? This is a translation of if ants are tasty, then pigs are bouncy. Now let us consider some other examples. So we might say, add a new sentence that says C equals chicken is tasty. So if we have a sentence that says ants and chickens are tasty, we would translate it as A and C. And the reason why is that in symbolic logic, what you really care about is what we call the semantics, right? And in semantics, what you're looking at is the truth claims that a sentence is actually making, not just literally the layout of the sentence. So this sentence here, ants and chickens are tasty, what it's really saying, right, if you were to write it out in full form, is ants are tasty and chickens are tasty. Now, that obviously is kind of silly to say, so we just leave out the are tasty after the ants. We just say ants and chickens are tasty, right? So this ant here still refers to this original symbol, ants are tasty, and not say something like this, which is A equals ants. Don't do that, right? Remember, don't do that, A equals ants. And then if we want to make a bigger sentence, like if ants and chickens are tasty, then pigs are bouncy, then we would say A and C. Okay, so these are inside of parentheses, right? Because these are the conditions here. If ants and chickens are tasty, right? Then, if both of these things are true, then it is true that pigs are bouncy. Okay, so we're going to want to put the A and C in a parentheses together. Okay, and this makes them a unit, right? They're able to function together as a unit. They are both conditions together for the truth of B. So I hope that helped clarify a little bit some of the questions you may have about translations. If not, feel free to reach out to me and I can explain in more detail if you have any further questions.